£7.36. And no, that is not the price of a side of French fries here, but it was actually how much money that Marco Pierre White had in his pocket when he travelled down to London and knocked on the door of the legendary Le Gavroche restaurant in Mayfair at the young age of 17. So in less than 2 decades, Marco would rise to the very top, becoming the youngest chef to earn 3 Michelin stars. And just as famously, one of the very few chefs who've returned those Michelin stars just prior to retiring from the kitchen. So hello again viewers, so I'm standing outside the Marco Pierre White English Chophouse in the London Whitechapel. One of the 50 or so Marco Pierre White branded restaurants in existence. And as it's a Sunday, I'll be sampling out the Sunday roast options today. So he doesn't cook here anymore, so you won't find him in any of these kitchens cooking your meal, let alone something of Michelin pretensions. So that begs the question, what does the Marco Pierre White brand has to offer in terms of experience? Well, that's what I hope to find out today. Okay, just my usual cursory look at the menu. I've not actually got my drinks menu yet, so I'm going to ask for that in a second, but just have a quick scan through. As this is a Sunday roast vlog, I'm just going to likely gravitate towards the sirloin of beef, and I quite like the fact they put the details of the trimming, so what you get along with it, and with the calorific content also. Yeah, very handy for those who are on the diet, such as I am. And right off the bat, there is callbacks to traditional dining with the dedicated cutlery for multiple courses. So you've got your starters, knives and forks on the outside with your mains in the middle and little bread plate to the left. So nice touch if you're into that sort of traditional dining setting. Okay, so I've sat to my table, picked somewhere with a little bit of natural light. It's actually quite dimly lit in there. It's very low-key lighting, I suppose. It's to keep that sort of intimate evening vibes even. I'm just waffling, sorry. So I've done the deed. I've ordered my roast and some accompanying beverages. So gone for the Burgundy Pinot Noir. So yeah, it's just looking at the colour, it's a young Pinot Noir. It's not going to be anything that's been aged. Looks very fruit forward, I'm sure, and very easy on the palate. So I'll give this a little try, shall I? Nose test first, of course. Aromatic summer scents there. Yeah, no wood, of course. No spice either. You don't get that in Pinot Noir. It's a very fruit-forward wine. So I'll give it a taste now. Cheers. Yeah, very nice delivery. Falls off the palate nicely. So I imagine this will go well with the roast beef, which is what I ordered for my roast. So yeah, looking forward for that one to land. Also gone for starters also. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Outside in. Right, here we go. And yeah, thankfully I got a generous sized linen napkin, which again, nice touch. You don't, many especially chain restaurants, they resort to paper napkins, which is a bugbear of mine. I prefer good old linen. It just gives you that sense of luxury and welcome when you treat yourself to a meal out. Don't spill any of this beetroot on my lap, as I'm kind of haphazard sometimes. So just grab a little slice of this beetroot, and I believe some walnut as well. So I have recalled that this starter has appeared in other Marco restaurants, not in particular with the Michelin rated restaurants. I've actually never dined there, I was too young, but more of his branded chain restaurants. You see this is quite consistent up and down the nation. All right, let's give this a go. Very light. Not going to grab you by the throat in terms of taste. It serves a purpose in terms of it being a light summery salad. Yeah, so far so good, and the goat's cheese is starting to show itself, which is pleasant. I'm worried to not stab my fork into the walnut in case it pings somewhere. You don't want that. I'm gonna have a little a few moments on my own with this starter, so I'll be right back. So a little about this particular restaurant. So I believe this was launched in December 2017 as part of the primary main restaurant for the New Road Hotel that was opened around the same time. So it's a repurposed old textile factory, and it's retained its original industrial features. So stripped back, exposed brick, lots of industrial piping and such. So it's in keeping with that vibe, and that's a bit of a trend with amongst many of the casual dining restaurants out there. I'm talking about your Hawksmoors and Blacklocks. They also keep within the same design and styling also. So my main should be arriving very shortly. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to tucking to that one. Oh, again, that's all right. Super, thank you. Look at that. Thank you. Yeah. Super. Wow, that's quite formidable in terms of portion size. All right, let's see if I could get this on the point of view camera. There's an abundance of food on here. It's pretty hefty. I'm going to do my best to put a dent into it. It's certainly a more generous portion than compared to something like in the old Cheshire cheese that I did a few weeks back. Okay, let's have a go at this. So how many slices of beef do I have on this? So 1, 2. It's quite thick sliced again. It's alas very similar to that in the old Cheshire cheese. Again, it's not a food review. I'm just relaying my experience and thoughts at the moment. I'm not a professional, by the way. I'm just another run-of-the-mill YouTube vlogger. Okay, so the meat's cutting quite easily, and this is with just a standard dining knife. No steak knife required, so that's a good sign. I just wanted to understand if Marco Pierre White's philosophy, his standards and such trickle down in these types of restaurants. I mean, I could have gone to any Marco Pierre White restaurant up and down the country, and I would be looking for that same thing. I would be looking for that philosophy, passion for food, quality ingredients, and just the overall dining experience to be casual, but about the eating experience as well. And I've noticed with this place, it's quite relaxing, very chilled vibe, even though it's very quiet at the moment. I booked a fairly late table, so I imagine the rush hour of diners have been. Yeah, I'm just talking too much now. I need to just try a little bit of the beef. It's flavourful, but not in the... I asked for medium, and it's slightly well done. But nonetheless, still very flavoursome, and I can still enjoy the meal, which is the main thing. Let's try the roast potato. Yeah, standard roast potatoes, not the crispiest, but it's flavoursome. It's got good seasoning. It's absorbed everything else that's surrounded it, which makes an overall pleasant experience. Try some of the Yorkshire pudding. It looks very much something not homemade but made in-house, as it doesn't have that uniform shape that you would get with factory-made, mass-produced stuff. Yeah, I've enjoyed that Yorkshire pudding. Crispy, good flavour too. I'm around about halfway through my Sunday roast, and in a nutshell, it's very good ingredients. The beef is it's still very tender, even though it's a bit too well done for me. But there's plenty of flavour in there. It's certainly a good quality beef. There's no denying that. Potatoes, the same thing, but yeah, it's lacking that sort of that final extra touch to make it special. And the carrots, again, very flavourful, but overdone. So it strikes to me that everything is slightly, maybe perhaps even reheated, which I don't want to think too much about, to be honest. Intensity of flavour. That is all I can conclude in a nutshell with the main course, despite its shortcomings. Yeah. I don't normally go for the third course or the desserts. However, as this is a Marco Pierre White restaurant, and he too wouldn't have a pudding, according to his interview back in the 80s when he was running Harvey's, but he would try a pudding just to understand what a restaurant can actually do. So,
out of 10, I won't have a pudding. But if I go to, say, a nice restaurant, or a restaurant which I regard as a restaurant of quality, then I'll have a pudding.
Alas, I'm going to do the same. But what I've noticed is one of his signature puddings or desserts would have been the Knickerbocker Glory. That was something he was fond of when he was growing up. And I would have liked to have seen something like that, of that vibe on the menu, but it's just not. So the next best thing is maybe just go for a selection of ice cream or sorbet. Well, the dessert has landed, so you get a choice of 3 scoops of sorbet and ice cream. So I've gone for pistachio, vanilla and a lemon sorbet, so nice and sharp to cut through that very rich main course, which I did try my best to finish, but there was just so much food there, and it was very Moorish though, nonetheless. Okay, so I wonder which one I should start with, but I'm going to swing the camera over to first person to do my usual thing of getting the first scoop of something. Okay, here we go. Let's start on the lemon sorbet. Little palate cleanser, also it is known as. Here we go. Yep, all very good so far. Nice, lovely, chewy texture. Just what you want. So I have been hitting the ice cream and gelatos quite often recently, as I've had a lovely break in Turin and been sampling all the gelatos and granitas on offer. So coming back home to London, I was craving for quality ice cream and sorbet, and indeed this is, I'd say this is right up there. The amount of chewiness in an ice cream is very important. You could tell if an ice cream has been defrosted or melted and refrozen. If it's chewy, then you know it's a well kept, fresh ice cream. Okay, how do I put this? It has all the ingredients and everything going for it to be an excellent dining experience. However, it is let down by the finer details. And that was something that Marco actually advocated. It's about perfection. And to get perfection, it's about getting those little details correct. And from what I have experienced and seen, there is room for improvement, that is for sure. This is not a review, I'm just trying to understand what we can get from a Marco Pierre White restaurant in 2025. He's no longer a Michelin chef, he doesn't have to play that game anymore. However, the standards of today, people go out to eat, or they want to go out for a meal, they want to have a good time. They have to be able to experience and appreciate some of those values that Marco have upheld for so long during his prime, during his time in his cooking career. I believe that those who are in the kitchen, the waiting staff, need to do better. They need to concentrate a bit more, they need to respect the ingredients that they work with, because they're very good ingredients, I could tell. Lots of flavour, it's just seems things like meat being overcooked, vegetables overdone. Those things anyone with a bit of attention can get right, and that's what it means. You just need to concentrate and focus on those things. Let's try again. Right. So in a nutshell, it's about getting those little things right, those finer details, because the ingredients, the produce is very high quality. I could tell. You could taste the flavours, the seasoning. It's all there. It's all good quality produce. The ice cream, the dessert, they don't make it in-house. It's all sourced from a very high quality supplier. Same with the wine, and perhaps even some of the cold starters also. There's no cooking required for that. It's the cooked courses that need that extra attention, and I think it's letting down the Marco Pierre White's brand, in my opinion. I do want to drag this into the arena of a review, but haven't seen so much, and just from what I have experienced, I just think it needs highlighting. And that is all I have to say about the matter. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed that visit to Marco Pierre White's English Chophouse. Thanks again for watching, folks. I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. So don't forget to support my channel, give me a like, engage in the comment section, and those who haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Your support will make all the difference. Okay, so that's about it from me. So have a lovely rest of the Sunday, and I'll catch you up again in the next video.